G'day, I'm Rick Massie from Strike Pro. Today I'm talking about a new lure that we've released for the season called the Bob and Spoon. This Bob and Spoon is a bit of a new take on an old-fashioned lure. It's basically based on the old Toby style lure that was around for many years, which was made from metal or lead. But unlike the lures of the past, this one actually is made of plastic and it's hollow inside. It's actually got rattles inside it, so it creates a rattle. We've named it a Bob and Spoon because the lure can be trolled or cast and it'll flutter like a traditional spoon, but it also can be bobbed and worked basically as like a bobber would be for redfin in particular and bass. But it has that audible sound and rattle system in it. It can also be reversed as well, which is another unique feature of the lure, that you can actually remove the treble from the back here and then put it to the front and then run your line off the back, and it gives it a completely different swimming action. It's a fantastic lure, suitable in particular in freshwater environments for our trout, redfin, yellow belly, bass as well in freshwater. In saltwater, it'll work extremely well on salmon and tailor in particular. It weighs around 7.5 grams, which is very similar weight to the old lead or metal style spoons, but it's a lot different in its profile and finish, being made of plastic. Each one of the lures has got a painted finish on one side and they're chrome plated on the reverse side. So that's where it'll be handy in particular for those saltwater species like salmon and tailor. Now let's show you how it works. Simply all we need to do with this lure, we control it, and when we troll it, it'll have a nice flutter. I'm cast retrieving it here today, so by cast retrieving it, we don't really need to do a lot to impart the action on the lure with the rod tip. The odd little just flick down will help it, but it's got that concave action in it, so as it goes through the water, it really flutters and can work this lure quite quickly, particularly if you're targeting species like salmon and tailor, because they do like the lure move quite quickly. It'll need to be slowed up slightly for the trout. If you're bobbing it for redfin and bass, needs to be worked a little bit differently again. With that, you'd be basically sounding fish out in deep water, dropping it down. As it's dropping, it's going to flutter on the drop, and then you're just going to slowly retrieve it back up, and then it's going to flutter on the retrieve up. When you cast it out, you can let it sink down a little bit. It'll slowly flutter down. It only weighs 7 grams, so it's not going to sink extremely quickly. And then all we basically do is just a straight retrieve, and you can just give it the odd hop with the rod tip as you're retrieving, just to impart a little bit of extra flutter in the action of the lure. Well viewers, that was the Strike Pro Bob and Spoon, a new take on an old traditional lure. Ideally suited, as I explained, in particular for a number of our freshwater and estuarine and saltwater species.